I don't think unionizing Pokemon is a very good idea, Pika. I mean, you're going to have to worry about keeping records, and I mean, you can barely write. I mean, look at your show notes. Hey, everyone. Welcome back once again. It is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since, being a constant source of comic book shop style conversations, the kind we used to have back in the comic book shop. Yeah, on any given Wednesday or any day that you can, find someone, another comic book fan to just talk to about your beloved hobby. Sláinte, skål, to your health, love, peace, tranquility, harmony, money. Money, 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 money. It's a mantra. I do it. You should too. The old guru said we're going to build the temple right here. The young priest said, but Guru, where are we going to find the money to build the temple? And where is that going to come from? And the old guru said, wherever it is right now. Indeed. So, the Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age between 1970 and 1985. I'm a Bronze Age baby myself. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I get these standards and definitions from the latest edition of the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide and its mighty glossary. So, yeah, that's a really good addition to anyone's collection. This is a 2004 Abrams press publication, written and curated by Chip Kidd, Les Daniels, and Geoff Spear. There is a link to the Amazon page in the description if you want your own copy. Pick one up. Give a used book a second life. I've given this book a third or fourth life. I mean, it's well-loved, well-read, and I thought it would make a great excuse to talk about comic books once a day, every day, for 1 year. And this has been great, because it just motivates me to start a conversation that we're all enjoying. And you are the most important part of this station, this channel, this conversation that we're having. This is ours. Thank you so very much for showing up. I appreciate that. Keep those comments coming. We're going to use this book for its intended purpose. It's a 365 days book. We're going to open up to today's date, November the 12th. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. And we're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. You got it. Thank you so very much. I hope you are clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Over and out. Indeed. So let's do it. Let's open this book up. It's November the 12th. This is art by Hal Sharp from Star Spangled Comics number 4. Star Spangled Comics would eventually become the Star Spangled Western, then Star Spangled War Stories. As tastes changed over the Golden Age. From Star Spangled Comics number 4, January of 1942, we got a brand new hero to introduce to you today. You're just gonna love him. Indeed, by Hal Sharp, we have the Tarantula. Dun dun dun. Look, he's webbing up people from afar and sticking on a wall? Wait a second. Isn't this... Shut up and read. The flash of cold steel, the swish of a knife cutting through air, and the blade, cunning monarch of the murder, has slashed his way out of crime's labyrinth to hurl metal. Menace at the... To hurl metal? Wow, yeah, whatever that means. Oh, maybe that means to shoot somebody. Or to use a knife. Oh my goodness, I'm picking up on this snappy lingo. Has slashed his way out of crime's labyrinth to hurl metal. Menace at the dazzling nemesis of evil, Tarantula. Follow the web-weaving trail of the nation's #1 crime fighter as he clashes with his greatest enemy in a conflict threaded with peril. Dun dun dun. There's a guy in a top hat and a Van Dyke beard, and there's a woman of color right there. Yeah, and there are bad guys. Look, with the overcoats and the fedora hat, and he's got a knife in his hand. That must be the Blade. Not to be confused with either Marvel character, Blade, the vampire hunter, or their version of Tarantula, or their Spider-Man, a hero that sticks to walls and shoots webs. Oh boy, Spider-Man won't come along for another 20 years. And but let's read the blurb, huh? There's nothing new under the sun, as Tarantula was apparently born to prove. Introduced in 1941 in the pages of Star-Spangled Comics, this crime fighter was actually a crime writer. Mystery author John Law. He adapted an arachnid appellation, crawled the walls with suction cups, and captured crooks with webbing shot from guns. Created by editor Mort Weisinger, Tarantula didn't catch on and was dropped after 19 issues. Yet when a superhero with similar attributes appeared 21 years later, he became a huge success for DC's rival Marvel Comics. You never can tell. Dun dun dun. Yes! Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. We're not going to talk about the other DC Tarantula either. A frenemy of Nightwing, or any rooftop encounters that may or may not have involved Nightwing's consent. Exactly. We're wrapping up DK Week. DK Week has been the Dark Knight Returns. I've been going through my spinner rack. These are literally on my spinner rack, and actually they're on the bottom of the spinner rack to give it some weight, like so, and so it doesn't get lopsided either. So it's like I got some really heavy stuff on the bottommost part of the spinner rack, like my hardcover version of Punk Rock Jesus by Sean Gordon Murphy. It's a huge book, and it's big, and it's hardcover, and it's heavy. So I get these series of counterweights, like the heaviest, biggest books at the bottom. And we've been just been going through The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, starting in 1986 with the seminal Batman story of a multiverse Batman, and it changed the taste of Batman ever since. Batman's been in this kind of Frank Miller mode pretty much ever since. Grittier, hyper-violent, but still remaining so it's very smart, and it's been really nice to go through this all. So I guess I'll mention the two omissions, the two things that I do not have. They're both kind of single issue-y. One would be All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder, issue number 10. This covers issues 1 through 9, and the series abruptly stops at issue number 10. And I could use that if I was a completist. So I'm going to go out there and source that and see how much it costs. If it's reasonable, see, under $20, I will pick it up for the collection. Also, there's Batman Spawn from 1994. That was on Image. That was with Todd McFarlane and Frank Miller, and that is the Earth 31. So technically, Spawn exists on Earth 31. Hello, canon continuity. I don't have that one. I hear it's not particularly too good. Let's look that up. Batman, not Barman, Batman. How many times have you tried that? It's a Spawn Splash Batman is a 1994 one-shot comic book written by Frank Miller with art by Todd McFarlane and published by DC Comics. The comic is an intercompany crossover between Batman and Spawn. The book, along with Batman Spawn War Devil, will be reprinted as Batman Spawn, the Classic Collection, on November 15th, 2022. So I can get this in a reprint and later on this week. And I think I would probably like to check out the original if I can find it. As I said, if I can find a nice copy for $20-$25, I would totally be down for that. Yeah. And it's got some interesting art. Yeah, I mean, it's Todd McFarlane's art. I would love to have this in my collection. I would love to have this in my Dark Knight Returns collection because I got everything else. And let's go through it real quick. Yeah, we got probably my third copy of the trade paperback in my entire life. This was printed probably about just a few years ago, you know, in the 30th anniversary. As we can see by the 30th anniversary title. That was so we, as we like to say, do the mouth breather. But also I got this this random issue of this is 4 of 4 of Frank Miller's original. I was gonna have him sign it, but I decided on Daredevil 175 instead, and which hits me personally. Then comes this is like, I guess, timeline. I got this filed by Timeline, and for the record, this is a prequel. So this happens all before any of this happens. This is Superman Year 1. This is book 3. So I was wondering why this kind of started harshly in medias res, and I have to go back and get books 1 and 2. And so this is pretty fun. I mean, I'm not too sold on John Romita's Batman and Superman, but it's okay, man. You know what I mean? Romita has a lot to do with his inker. This Danny Miki is inking. We got colors by Alex Sinclair on this, and so it's not bad. I like the story more than I thought I was I thought I was going to, and I ended up really enjoying it. So now I'm committed. I have to go back. It's weird because it's a little oversized. This came out. This is new. This is like 2021, 22. Let's look at the indicia real quick. Oh, this is from December of 2019. Okay. That's good to know. Came out around the same time as the Golden Child. Yet it's a bit oversized, so it's bigger than the rest of them. But because Superman is a little bigger, these stories are a bit like grander, bigger than life. So a prequel should technically go all the way in the front, right? If I'm filing this by Timeline, and All-Star Batman and Robin should go after this, because I haven't seen Robin in this yet, but we see Batman, and it's great because this is the Earth 31 Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I love this. Is very romantic. Kiss me, give me something to remember, and he kisses her on his forehead, and I like that. Like, you boy, you sweet little Adonis, go become a man, then you come back for me. That's beautiful. I like that. Because this relationship we're going to see come full circle by the end. We also got Dark Knight Crusade, The Last Crusade. That should be filed after All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, shouldn't it? Yeah. But no, it's going to lead off with Dark Knight Returns, and it's going to have this at the end, just because it's got to fit my spinner rack. So, you have to be pliable with these things. Then we have Dark Knight 2, 2001, really underrated. I'm pretty sure that it's weird that like Frank Miller's, this Dark Knight Returns is a lot like, say like an aging pop star, say like Bob Dylan or Neil Young or you can pick your poison. Robert Plant, like, yeah, this was like Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? But this stuff here, getting later and later, this is getting that into his older days, and the wonderful music that he still produces, and that's my rock and roll metaphor. Yeah, Frank Miller is like Robert Plant to me. He's still, if you're gonna tune in, you're gonna be really pleased with what the new stuff he's still putting out. Robert Plant even still says, "I wrote Stairway to Heaven when I was a kid. Basically, I was a young man when I wrote that. It was like, I'm a different human now." Love that. But still, he's on brand and makes great stuff. This is good stuff, in my humble opinion. Then comes Dark Knight 3. 9 issues of this, all with a mini issue inside of it. And this was coming up to celebrate the 30th anniversary of DC, of The Dark Knight Returns. And we can see the logo changes. Yeah, the icon, the local, yeah, exactly. They changed that logo 4 times in 20 years. So they were, DC Comics was literally having an identity crisis. That can be punny if you chose to see it that way. And then rounding it out is 2019's The Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child. And I hope there's more. I really do. I hope there's more. As I said, I got to meet him, Frank Miller, at Fan Expo Boston 2022, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes. I had Klaus Johnson sign my copy of Daredevil 175 in April at another convention, so I brought that with me. Now I have both artists and the writer sign that book. It's worthless, kind of, or it could be worth $20, or you can't verify the Sharpie. Who cares? It's for me. That's my prize. Like, that fulfills me as a comic book fan. But he spoke to me for a few minutes. He had a stroke a few years ago, so his posture is a little affected. He's looking a little older than his actual age, but he survived that, and his eyes were still bright and sharp, and he was engaging. And I had only brought this one. Everyone else in line had all this stuff, and they, like, you can get 2 autographs per ticket, and that was like $80 each. And so you had all these people with all this, their collectibles and stuff, and here I am with this 1981 issue of a Marvel comic book. And he looked at it, and he was like, and I was like, yeah, I got Klaus to sign it too. And he got a grin, and he started telling me, like, I remember exactly where I was when I drew this. I was on the road. I was in the back of a car. I had this, like, portable lamp. I hated this paper that Marvel gave me. It kept smearing. It was like an inferior paper quality. And it was, yeah. And he was like, and we had a moment. And I was leaving. I was like, hey, by the way, I wanted to tell you, I love the Dark Knight stuff you're doing, especially the recent stuff. And Golden Child, I loved. And he got a grin. I asked him, I was like, will there be any more new stuff with DK? And he didn't commit to an answer. He just had a mischievous grin, a glint in his eye, maybe a shrug to his shoulders. It was all a nonverbal, but it wasn't a no. And I really found that charming. And that was, I literally spent a few minutes with Frank Miller. He was telling me a story, and and it was really nice, because it was like there was a half an hour people ahead of me, and the line was maxed out behind me. And because I got into that line early. And I'm very grateful to have had that moment with Frank Miller and to have him sign one of my all-time favorite comic books. And it's been really a pleasure talking about comic books on DK Week. Thank you for letting me gush about one of my longtime loves, not just Batman, but Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns Batman. And there's still stories to tell with these characters, and also finding artists to fit the tone of the project. It's been that's a nice ride too, seeing it myself. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day. I make regular content. I talk about gratitude, spirituality, and purpose. I'm an ordained minister, an amateur theologian. Hence, Rev Sully, Reverend Sully, indeed. I'm a professional chef. I make soup videos. I am known as the Sultan of Soup. If Wes from Thinking Critical sent you, let me know in the comments section. Mention Doc and get 50% off your next bowl of soup. God bless. Namaste. Good luck, and we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.